So, um, the the idea is that Sheyi is we are trying to see if you can be a part of the team.
Mhm.
Then, being part of the team, he will oversee the training portion of the program in terms of helping to develop or train people for digital literacy. And in addition to, because we also have other programs like podcasting skills, because also that we want someone to be able to help us provide students and faculty some of these skills, content creation, blogging essentials, digital storytelling, and website design and development. So, and part of the way we structure the program is such that we are going to have um, some basic certification program, you know, that probably will last for like 3 months. Then we also have the intermediate digital literacy course and the advanced digital literacy course. So the basic one, of course, will cover basic things about foundational knowledge about computer hardware, operating systems, software applications, internet basics, and so on, file management, online safety and security. Those are some basics, but they may not go in detail. Then as the course progresses, they will do stuff like that's the intermediate digital literacy program, that will focus on digital citizenship, understanding online safety and security, lessons on netizenship and netiquette, the etiquettes of using the technology, you know. And of course, we also touch those issues about computer basics again, email communication, uh, online safety and security again, basic software learning and digital citizenship again. Then at the advanced level, we'll do a lot of things about digital marketing, social media marketing, cybersecurity, data science, and artificial intelligence. So that's the broad outlook of some of the things that we are looking for someone to help us, conduct this training program at the Institute of Management and Technology. John, by providing some perspective, the School of the Mass Communication Department of IMT has actually produced most of the top-notch journalists in Nigeria. It's almost about 60-year-old institution. They're a very prominent institution over there, and we are proud to have this partnership with them to see how we can leverage some of our expertise to help the students. In fact, what I call that is kind of a reverse brain drain, because
Mhm.
most of the talents are living in Nigeria, and we think that we could, bring them help by doing some what we call, in literature what they call um, brain networking, as it were. As you can see, you're an American. We're trying to also tap your brain also to help people in Nigeria, you know. So, but again, before we proceed, Sheyi, are you there? Hello?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Yeah. So I'd like to introduce the person you're seeing on the screen. His name is John Kavanagh. He is the founder and executive director of the Plunk Foundation, you know, based in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a nonprofit 501c3 um, organization. In other words, a tax-exempt organization. He is the project manager for the risk and safety team of the Cincinnati Alcatalyst under Drive Kelly Cohen. Sorry, he also sits on Kelly Cohen board of the Eagle Scout Association. So essentially, John is also a PhD candidate at the University of Cincinnati for aerospace engineering with a focus on privacy and threat detection in AI systems. As a matter of fact, he also hosts a podcast, it's called Legal for Tech. basically, in summary, John is an expert in digital privacy and digital security. So he will also be helping to provide a training program for some of the participants in this program, at least through online, like Zoom that we are talking about right now and other facilities. So he has also been actually working with us a lot of initiatives. So John is also the co-founder of the Landmark Shield Global Online Safety Conference, the first global conference of its kind to give voices across the world on the effects of online world, representing 49 countries and 341 attendants on its first year. So you'll be learning from him as time progresses. We'll also be sharing thoughts on basic issues about digital literacy and digital security, because online safety is a critical moment, a critical issue that we'll also be talking about along this course, especially in the aspect of even the prevalent or the pervasive kidnapping that occurs in Nigeria, exacerbated or kind of made possible or fueled by online tricks and all that. So we'll be talking about that as we progress. So, but I think for a start, okay, then John, you can see the other gentleman joining us. He is Dr. Robert Mado. He is the head of the Department of Mass Communications at the Institute of Management and Technology.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. And I think Emeka is also there. Emeka is also the regional director of media education development initiatives over there in Nigeria. So without much ado, I'm gonna invite Sheyi. Like I said, we'll have his resume. So to tell us about himself.
All right, so thank you very much, sir. Mr. John, thank you. HOD, thank you. My name is Oluwaseyi. I don't know if I'm audible. It's raining.
Yes, I'm happy. We're
it's raining, yeah?
We can hear you.
Okay. I'm Oluwaseyi Olayewaju by name. I'm a business developer. I'm a leader, and I'm a problem solver. Yeah, I studied computer engineering, and I came down to Enugu in 2015 for my NYSC, where I started my journey in the tech industry, where I served in an IT company known as AfriHub Nigeria Limited. It's an international company. So where I served as a core member, that is a youth core member, that was 2015 to 2016. And immediately after my service year I was promoted to a rank of the network engineer. That was 2016, which I started my journey in the tech industry back there in IMT in Enugu State. So as a network engineer, I was in charge of the network to set up a network infrastructure to lecture students on CCNA, which I lectured engineering students back then. That was 2010 to 2017 in CCNA. I taught them CCNA and also taught the other department in computer application, which comprises of Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and Access, which I thought if I should calculate the total number of students that I've trained so far from 2016 to 2018, there will be close to 2,000 students. Yeah, there will be close to 2,000 students that I've trained. And from 2018, I was promoted to the rank of a manager. That is the manager, the park manager of AfriHub, which I was moved down to Enugu State University of Science and Technology to go and head the office there as the park manager or the hub manager. I was also the training manager, which I was assigned 2 roles at the same time, which I involved in multitasking. So I was the training manager, I was the park manager, which I set up the curriculum for the students, for the Enugu State University students, set up curriculum on what they will learn. I will train the trainer, that is to train the instructors that would teach the students, have regular meeting with them, which I was able to increase the revenue of AfriHub with like 30% increment. So during my course in IMT, I was assigned to network. I was assigned to Jam company, that is PTME, to handle the Jam CBT center in IMT, which I was headed for like 3 good years. And in 2019, my center was ranked the best Jam center in Enugu State. That was in AfriHub IMT. And apart from that, I am the first person that set up the live streaming when the former governor of Enugu State, that is Ifeanyi Urobo, came down to IMT. I'm the first person that started the live streaming, which I streamed the event live on our company's address, on our company's social media platform. And apart from that, I've engaged in a lot of training and media work. In ESUT, I was able to install. Okay, in ESUT, I was able to be the person that set up the radio stations that they have, which I installed the radio stations. Apart from that, I've I've worked as a trainer at NIT in Enugu State, which I taught students on project management as an instructor. From there, I moved down to a law firm as a consultant, which I was their consultant, and I helped them to digitalize their workflow to be automated, which I helped them, which I did for 2 years. And I moved down to an ice clinic, TESH, in Enugu State. I also helped them to digitalize their workflow and train some of their staffs on how to use some particular softwares. From there, I also developed a website for Indiana company, a website for Indiana company. And from there, I was consulted from Avan Ikoku College of Education in Imo State to come and set up a digital library for them, which I did. I set up digital library, and I was among the people that repaired 250 systems. I was the team lead. I led the team. I repaired 250 systems in AfriHub, which of recent, 2 months ago, I was also consulted by the rector of IMT to also repair some systems, which was distributed to mass comm department, electrical engineering, business administration, which I repaired and troubleshooted the system for them, 2020 systems, which was deployed for their accreditation. And also for the concluded accreditation, I was also supported mass comm department in the accreditation, where I helped them to serve as a technologist. So these are the brief history about me. And also I trained students on cybersecurity. I was a consultant to 3MTT, that is the Nigeria Federal Government's parastatal on training the youth. So I was the cybersecurity instructor in Oka, and I trained and Enugu, which I traveled down to Anambra State every Friday to train some of them. And one of my students is a lecturer from COOU, I don't know the full meaning, and of COOU in Anambra State. Of recent, he sent me a letter that he has been promoted to be a cybersecurity HOD in that school, in Peter University. So these are short brief about myself. Thank you, sir.
Okay, John.
Thank you, Shay. I appreciate it. So Uchenna, do you want me to ask some questions?
Yes.
Okay. And may I call you Shay? I heard people call you Shay earlier. Is that
yes?
The way to go? Is that what you go by?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. My first question is: it seems like you have
I'm on Zoom.
a mix of the technology side, but as well as the podcasting side when you worked for the church and stuff. My question first on your resume is that, are you currently going to school for the engineering degree, or did you graduate from school? Because there was not an end date.
I've graduated. I've graduated.
Oh, you graduated?
Yes,
Okay.
I graduated 2015.
Okay. Got it. My next question right now is, in this course, you may have students who are just taking the course to sort of get by. They may not be too interested in the topic. How do you view the importance of media, where you can share that with somebody who may be a little ambivalent about the subject?
Okay, please, I'm not clear with that question. If I can say it, for me to be sure that I'm on point.
Yes.
The question is that if I want to train a student and they are not interested, how can I convince them? I don't know if I'm right.
Yes, that's correct. How would you share with them? You don't maybe have to convince them, but how would you share with them the importance of this and help them see how important it is?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I think I have encountered this kind of things before while I was training business administration and mass comm in computer application. So some of them said they don't have interest, that is not related to what they are doing. And I try to explain to them, this is how I be able to convince them to try to solve the problem. So I try to explain to them, I told them that back then in Nigeria, if you look at, before you can make call, you can't just pick your phone and call someone. You have to go to a fax machine or a telephone. You will line up and make a call. And if you are sending a message, use SMS, you have to go to post office and send a message using that post office. And you don't even know if the message will get to where you are going to. Now, look at nowadays that with the help of technology, you have to sit down in your house and send the SMS, and it will be delivered to where it is sent to. Now, I was trying to say that if you don't familiarize yourself with the technology, it will get to a stage that you will not be relevant in whatever you are doing. So I use some scenarios, for instance, like the business administrator now. I try to tell them that if you do not embed technology, for instance, then they are using typewriter. If you want to type something and you use typewriter to type it. But nowadays, you can see that if they want to employ you, the first thing they will ask is you must be computer literacy. You must learn about computer. That is forget about your degree. Your degree is not what is counting now. It's about the other skills you have. So if you don't have the knowledge of how to type, how to edit, how to send an email, you see that in the workspace, you are out of it. They may not even call you for interview and you will not be relevant. So after using those scenarios and they made up their mind that, okay, this is good, and they have to adapt to it. So this is how I was able to convince the student or to tell them about it, that if you are not technology inclined, you are out of this generation. Using AI, for instance, now, because I also use AI, I use what is going on in this era, that now look at POS. It will get to a stage that POS machine now, you'll be able to credit. I told them the reason why you have more workers in the banking industry now is because the Nigerian people, we are not used to 5G, and people cannot, they have not developed a POS machine that can accept credit. Once they're able to develop that particular one, that you don't need to go to bank to get any money, that you can use machine to save money. you will see that the bank flow, the people in the bank industry, they will reduce totally. So I'm trying to use this era, this physical things they can see to explain to them why they should embrace technology. If I should come in line with the mass comm department now, using mass comm for instance, now the old ways of reading news and stuff is getting faded. If you don't know how to record your voice, edit, using Audition, using all these softwares, you are out of it. So these are the ways I can use technology to educate them why they should embrace this particular training. I don't know if I've answered your, I'll be able to answer your questions.
Yeah, that's perfect. I wanted to get your, because you mentioned a few things about sort of the landscape of Nigerian students and the fact that there's a lot of digital transformation going on. As you're seeing this digital transformation, and I understand you have a good education in cybersecurity, what are you seeing that a lot of perhaps incoming students and even culturally, what would you say that are the biggest cybersecurity risks that you would like to address in this class?
Okay. What I will address is authentication, because some of them, the way they save their password, they use normal digits. Some of them use their phone numbers. Some of them use their date of birth, something that someone can guess. So if I want to tell them about the cybersecurity, I'll tell them about the authentication, because that is the easiest way that they used to hack them. Some of them that have social medias, they will use their first name, use their second name, add it with their date of birth, which people can easily guess and stuff like that. So if I want to address or talk to them, I will emphasize more on authentication, how they can protect themselves and how they can do more of, add more of security in their, what's it called? In their, sorry, how they can just do authentication. Let me use it that way.
Got you. Are you familiar with using password managers?
I can't hear you. Sorry, you said what?
Like password managers like Bitwarden or OnePass?
Because
Yes. Two factors, yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, I'm going to talk them and talk about it. Yes. At least
Okay.
they should not just use one factor of authentication, they should add two or more. For instance, your what's it called, your mobile banking, you should use, let them, if you want to log in, they should be able to send you an SMS and stuff. These are the things that I'm going to talk about. Thank you, Mr. John.
So he's talking about password managers. Are you familiar?
Yes, I'm familiar with password managers.
Okay. John, go ahead.
Okay. So the a big part of the course is understanding experiential learning. So my question is, like, when you look at sort of the landscape, what criteria would you use to help students learn with experiential learning? Could you hear me, Shay?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Cracking here.
There's a reference from Bob and Co. So can you mute your thing? Go ahead.
Of course,
Yeah, you can.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, so Shay, I was asking you what experiential learning would look like for you. If you're giving the students an assignment, as an example, what are ways that you would have them actively get engaged with material in a way that they are experientially learning?
Sorry, please, can you come again? I can't hear you clearly here.
Yeah, okay. So one big part of the course is to design a way for students to have an experiential learning activity. And this is basically an assignment or a skill that is applied within the course. My question to you is like, what are some ideas that come to mind when you think of this experiential learning for the students? It's supposed to give them, for example, scientific and critical thinking skills, quantitative reasoning, information literacy, or some level of technological competency.
Okay.
So if you're designing a course, for example, what type of experiential learning comes to mind as part of an assignment?
Okay. If I'm to supervise or to train, if I get the question right, from my own experience in training students, the first thing I do is I share them into groups, like 3-3, because I noticed from my experience is that majority of the students that I've trained is they need someone beside them that will be guiding them. And as an instructor, I cannot be everywhere. So what I do, the first thing is I assign them into groups. Like if they are 20, I assign them into 5 different groups. That will be 4 in a group, and I assign a leader. Now, what I do is that I will create a WhatsApp group with all the leaders where they will be giving me the updates. Well, and I will ensure that they are doing it not individually. That is what I do. Like if I give them assignment or classwork, even during the classroom experience, I share them into groups.
Hello? It looks like we lost him.
I think so.
Bob, are you on?
You have your partner. Both of you need to WhatsApp group, and I will be added to the WhatsApp group. Them to hello.
Okay, Shay, I guess the question actually, you see, most times when people teach or some instructors, it's not just enough to provide theory. So the question is related to how you're able to apply the theory in practice. How will students be able to imbibe what you're teaching them through practical knowledge? You know, for example, of assignments you give them, you know, and stuff like that.
Okay.
So those are the kind of things you're looking for. So how do you utilize some of those things you're teaching them in class, you know?
Oh,
So
okay. I get it now. I'm a purely practical.
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
a purely practical person. That is my strength. I'm a purely technical, practical person. I'm not a theoretical person. And all my students knows that I do more on practicals. For instance, anything I'm teaching, I try to visualize it in a way that they will figure it out. In a way, I'm going to use a practical things as an example. For instance, let's assume that I'm training them in Microsoft Word. For example, now I'm training them Microsoft Word. So I'm going to ensure I move from table to table. That is from each student. I don't want to know how many they are. I've done it before. In my cybersecurity class, there are more than 80 students.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to.
There are more than 80 students, and I move from table to what I'm teaching them. So I'm a purely practical person.
Okay.
I move from table to table. After
in the process, you let them apply the knowledge. That's the key. So make sure, for example, you can even give someone an assignment to go out of the field to get back some of the assignments to you, and you review what they have done. Or you're teaching Microsoft Word, you allow the person to even type stuff or get a document written and typed. And if you're doing Excel, the person should be able to, you give them a budget to put in Excel. Those are things then you can do to make sure that the person really understands what they're talking about. Let me quickly, John, let me quickly invite the HOD of MassCom to, chime in.
Okay, Prof, good day, everybody. I'm grateful to be part of this experience. I think I have known Shave for some years now. He is such a guy that has his onions on technical aspect. He's well grounded when you think of computer and related matters. We brought him to the department about 3 years ago to see how to fix the antenna, the radio antenna for the radio station, and to work on our lab. And he has been so useful. And I think of making the next move. So when Prof came with the idea of setting a local news lab, I just told myself that this is a perfect match. I recommend him. He has my recommendation. And because it is not just about media this time around. It's about computer. It's about how it works. I will be the first student in the class. I will be 001, what Nigerians call 001. I get to me. Even as I say HOD, I barely type or do rough work on computers. So I now want to fix that. This is my opportunity to fix that. And many other persons in the department, even older persons, even those who have reached 60, even those who are about to retire, they want to fix that before they go. Because the future of the world is computer, whether it is mass communication, it's now so embedded, so intrinsic that you cannot do anything anymore. We have reached the end of the road. So we must break that barrier. This is an opportunity. And thank you. God bless everyone.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, the digital literacy has become a very important part of our lives today, that if you're not literate in that sector, there's just nothing you can do. There's no doubt about it. Every sector. You know, John, back to you.
Okay. I was now going to dive a little bit into, and you've mentioned this, is the AI. So a lot of the coursework is about learning Microsoft tools, and the Microsoft tools now become integrated with Microsoft's AI. My question to you is, as people are learning these skills, how would you integrate AI, or would you have them learn the skills first and then play with AI? How would you integrate the knowledge of that? We're seeing in the US that lots of students are not actually doing any work anymore. They're copy and pasting AI into things. And there's a lot of philosophy that the educational system needs to change because you can't stop students from using the AI. So would you consider, how would you consider the approach when teaching students how to use Microsoft Office?
Okay. I'm not that clear with the question, but let me just.
Okay, I'll clarify. I'll clarify it. You're familiar with Microsoft products and how Copilot is integrated into the Microsoft products, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you're teaching students about using the Microsoft suite, how will you instruct them about Copilot? For example, I'll give you one example. Previously, before Copilot, you are teaching them how to make a presentation, how to add animations, change the text, what makes for a good slide with not too much text so that you can present. Now you can use, with Copilot, you can type in, make a presentation on this subject, and the presentation is created. Okay, they can edit through prompt engineering. So my question is to you, when you're looking at embracing new technology and when the students are in a learning phase, how will you teach them to use these products? Are you going to use Copilot? Are you going to teach them the old way and then Copilot? What's your philosophy?
Okay. All right. So I get the question very well. All right. The first thing is I'm going to teach them the old ways, because if they should start with Copilot and everything, it will affect them, because if they are in a place where there's no access to internet, that means they will not know what to do. So it's better for me to lay the foundation. Then I can now tell them that, okay, in case you have a lot of work to do, you can now do it. So they already know the foundation and they can continue to build on it. So I will start from the foundation, teach them the old ways, how it is being done, and the new method on how they can carry it out.
Okay, thank you. How will you evaluate the old method?
I don't know if I've answered your question.
You have. Thank you. How would you evaluate the old school method of building it and not knowing that they're using? So for example, you may not be able to tell that they're using AI. So how would you be able to evaluate whether they went the old school method or not in some of their work?
Okay. I have forgotten the name of the software. There's a software that you can use to detect if it's AI or human. So I'm going to use this. So I've forgotten the name of the software. I'm trying to remember the software, the AI tools that you can use to detect if this particular write-up is an AI generated or human being. So I don't know if I remember before the end, I will say it. So I'm going to use the software to detect, and anyone that is being detected that is AI, I'm going to call them. If it's an exam, I'm going to fail them or tell them to rewrite it in my presence. And I'll let them know that this will really affect you, because I'll first of all tell them the implication of what they are doing and tell them to go and do it in the normal way they're supposed to do. So I believe I will remember before the end of this, the software that I will use to detect if it's AI or human.
Okay. I may have a suggestion. This is because
Have I answered the question? I don't know.
sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, you answered the question. No, he was asking whether he answered the question.
Yes. I also have a suggestion just in the future, because we're struggling with this in the United States. There's a philosophy of sort of reversing the classroom where, for example, many students will do the work during the class under a supervised setting, and then they make their presentation, and then their homework is to make it better with AI. So you have them work in the classroom. You may say, hey, you have 30 minutes to design a presentation on something, and then they present it, and then the next day they create it with for homework. They make it better with AI, and then they present it the second time. So there's some other ways to look at it too. What we found is that the AI models that can catch if something is AI generated, isn't that effective in text. So it's really not going to be too effective in the presentation setting, but that's what we're finding here in the US, which is a little technologically ahead of some places. So that's merely a suggestion. My next question, I want to go back over to the media side of things. Okay, so a lot of these students will have interest in media, of course. And I saw on your resume you worked with podcasting and churches and developing a media center in that area. What is to you the most important thing when having students trained in media literacy from the technological perspective?
Sorry, please, can you repeat the question? My line is cracking, so I'm just moving around.
No problem. No problem. My question is that since you've worked on media, like podcasting, social media preparation and stuff, what are the most important technological skills for students in that space?
Okay. The most important thing from my own experience is the software part. That is the editing part, like the audio and video editing. That is the first thing that I will say that Because what I notice in Nigeria, what I notice here is that some of the students, they don't have the boldness to come out and I don't know, like for instance, now using broadcasting, for instance, as a news so majority of them, they don't have interest. They want something that they will be doing and they will be seeing it immediately. Like editing audios, you edit, you play, they are hearing it and they love it so much. So the first thing I will just emphasize is the editing part of the media. That is the first thing. And after that, then I can now say the production parts, of the media. So that is what I would say from my own experience and from my own relationship with students. So that is what I would say.
Okay, wonderful. After that point, have you had experience on publishing through different social medias?
Yes, I've done that. On
Okay.
YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram.
Okay. Are you familiar with services such as Hootsuite where you can send and put drafts of different messages to go out on certain days and pushes through entire platforms? Do you have knowledge in that area?
Sorry, my line is cracking. It's raining heavily. I'm just
No
moving
worries.
around. So please, can you come again, sir?
Do you have familiarity with social media managing platforms like Hootsuite?
No, I'm not familiar with that particular one.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. This is a software that you may want to look into for the students where they can have one piece of media that goes to multiple platforms and they just publish it on this website and the website will schedule out those posts as an example. So they don't have to go inside each one of them.
Okay.
Yes, it can be more
Yes,
secure.
they can use yes, is it using OBS or vMix?
Mhm. Yes, exactly. Or basically a single sign-on related thing.
Yeah. They can use vMix, they can publish on different social media platforms at the same time.
And then my last bit of questioning here is, by the way, thank you for your answers. But my last question here is related to privacy. So a lot of people in the media, especially Uchenna's background, which is journalism, a lot of organizations have made mistakes with how they handle private information. Sometimes this mistake results in people losing their lives, and especially journalists. So I wanted to ask you how you would teach people to keep information safe online. And it's a little abstract because it's hard for students to see how important that is sometimes. So how would you teach them about basic privacy tenets?
Okay. Well, how I will teach them is I will let them know that the first thing is if you are going online, have your own page name. You can create a page. Don't use your name, or if you want to just have a stage name that people knows you with, build that particular name. Once you build it, so anything you are pushing online, it should be different from your lifestyle. So that particular page, since you'll be going online, should be dedicated for your work, not your personal life. So will also tell them that whatever you push online can other people can have access to it. So for you to secure yourself from online, from hackers, from different attack, so you need to guide yourself. So what I would have a name, a page name, or a I don't know how to frame this particular question, but I will just tell them to have their well, I'm still trying to think. I'll just tell them to have their own, to build a name for themselves and not to use their personal details online.
Sorry, I was muted. Those are pretty much most of the questions that I have. I'll turn it over back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Shay.
For your expertise. So, Shay, how do you intend to market this program? So make sure you have adequate people to create people's interest. What are your marketing strategies in this matter?
Okay. Firstly, I don't know if the training is dedicated to mass comm department alone, or is for other people to come in from another department, or maybe it's just for school settings alone.
No,
so that is what I would need clarification.
It's going to be for everyone. Even though we're focusing on mass comm, it's going to be open to everyone.
Okay. So the marketing strategy I will use is to have like 2 days workshop with different departments, call them, do 2 days workshop, both online. It may be online with a WhatsApp group or Telegram. I will do 2 days workshop. After the workshop, then I will tell them that if they want to know more about it, they should come to the venue. This is the price, this is this. So by doing frequently workshops, I believe many people will have interest in joining. And also by doing social media marketing, like promoting it online, let people know what we are doing. And the students that we have presently will be the one that will be marketing it for us. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, and through graphics design and through short videos to do marketing, I believe it will go viral and people will know what we are doing and people will have interest. So these are my marketing strategy plan.
Okay. Do you have an idea of how to use social media to achieve some of those things you're talking about? Because I am aware that most students, of course, they are very familiar with social media, and that could be a great platform. Do you have an idea of how to go about that?
Yes, I have an idea.
Then, of course, you mentioned earlier that you know how to design a website.
Yes.
So if you were to design a website, what are the first things you look? Give me the 3 major things you want to consider.
To build a website, is it for the media? The content?
No, just 3 important things you need to think about when you want to. Like if I ask you to design a website for me, what are the key 3 major things you want to take care of?
I need to know what the website is all about, and I need to ask questions. What is the aim of the site? What do we want to achieve before I will not know what the 3 things that we need?
Yeah, you're talking about the focus or the purpose of the website. That's a good point. So, and when I give you this purpose and focus, what's the next thing you're going to do?
Yeah, is to create a very good landing page.
No, before you get
that will tell the details.
So would you consider getting, for example, a domain name, first of all? It's not
okay, is it that part? No, is before domain name, or the first thing is for me to build when the site is ready, then we'll get the domain name and the hosting. And that one is towards the last part of the work. Is when the design is ready, I share with my clients, they are okay with it, then we can host it.
Okay. All right. So we have been here for almost an hour. Finally, what are your expectations of this job in terms of, if we were to give you the opportunity to do the job, what are your expectations, especially in terms of how much money do you think we should pay you? And when you finish answering that, then I would like you to ask any questions that you may have.
Okay. All right. Firstly, my expectation is I would love to grow. I would want to know more, because it's not limited to what I know. The first thing is I always love to be where I will be able to grow, to add to what I've known, either to relearn or to unlearn and to learn afresh. That is my number one priority. So if anywhere I am, I cannot learn, I cannot grow, cannot be this, I think I will not be part. So the first thing I will look at is where I can go. So which I believe that this platform, I will be able to grow, to learn, to relearn, and opportunities for more growth, because I love learning. That is one thing about me. Secondly, my expectation, I believe there should be a particular thing that is being assigned to this particular role. So I will go by what is being assigned to this particular role or to this assignment that wants to be given to me concerning the payment. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
No, I get that, but we're going to hire, I think we'll hire you for it. We're going to hire you and you say, okay, how much will you want to be paid?
That is what I'm saying, that I believe there would have been a particular thing that is written to this particular position, that, okay, this is what we want to give to the person that wants to take this particular role. So I'll go by that particular thing that has been.
If you pay what is not acceptable to you, that means you're not going to accept it. So that's why I was asking your opinion. However, how much were you paid by Africa Hub?
Okay, I left there 2022. So my last payment there was 250. So now I'm working on my own and I'm working on my own, doing consultancy for people. So that is what I'm doing now. But my last payment was 250,000.
Okay. So about podcasting, do you have idea about the equipment, that's needed for podcasting? Do you have an idea? Tell me.
Yes. Yes. A microphone, a mixer, and you need to do a padding that is of the all. Wherever we are using, we'll do a padding and a speaker. So we now, if we want to extend it, maybe there will be a system, a laptop there, and a software. We can use Mixlr, we can use vMix, we can use OBS. Anyone who wants to use, then I think that is all that is needed to set it up.
Okay. And at least you know where those things can be purchased in Nigeria, right? Or in Enugu?
Yes. I can send you pictures of the one that I did for SSUX.
Okay.
The mixers, the microphone, the transmitter, and everything. I can send you the pictures, maybe after the meeting.
All right. All right. So do you have any questions for us?
Yes, sir. I have a question, and my question is that I have a team that I work with. For instance, now someone that I've trained is the one that handled all the social media, is the one that managed the social media because to be sincere, this particular thing is not something I can do alone. If truly I want to be productive, it's not something I can do alone because handling students, the practical parts, so needs more hands. So is this something that I can bring in my team to join me in achieving this particular goal? That is my question.
Are they join you on the basis of that like they are going to be volunteers or something?
Yes, some of them
Because
yeah.
we also need volunteers as well to be a part of the team. So if that is your question, the answer is yes. Because without even you asking the question, we're also, looking out for volunteers. For example, there is a news website that you guys will be managing. So most of the students will be, writing and sending stories from rural communities and all that. So those are kind of volunteering jobs, so nobody's going to be paying them, at least for now. But things can improve in the future, and usually the advantage of some of those volunteers is some of them may now discover that they have so much talent that you want to keep them, because the commitment of a volunteer and someone working for you, they're completely different. So that's what I can tell you about that.
Okay, no,
So
it's fine. It's fine.
all right. Otherwise, yeah, we have spent 1 hour, 1 minute. I really thank everyone, especially John, for bringing his expertise in the whole thing. And Shay, thank you also for, this great opportunity. You'll be hearing from us either way, as we also talk to other people as well. So, and hopefully, I'm sure you should be able to hear from us within the next 2 weeks at the latest. All right. So
All right. Okay, so
we're also open to, as we will consider you don't have any restrictions, so you can start at any time, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So that said, I thank you so much, and do have a lovely day. And John, thank you so much, and let's continue our day over here. It's just 10 o'clock, yeah, and yet also 10 o'clock over there. So, and we'll catch up with other activities as we've discussed 2 days ago, all right? Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.